Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Juicy. We're doing our LSU versus South Carolina preview here in 2024. And you know what? We've gotten a lot of responses from our, if you haven't joined our Facebook group that we're a part of, LSU True Tigers, we're one of the admins on there. So, come join the conversation that we had. We had a score prediction here, and we're going to go through all that here on this episode here of the Fishbowl Radio. So thank y'all for tuning in here. And before we get started here, y'all know them, y'all love them. Welcome to the show, Juicy. How you doing today, Juicy?
Oh, I'm good, man. I don't know about the loving part, but they know me. But let's
Hey,
not
you.
sell. Let's not oversell me here.
Hey, you got sell, bro. That's all you got to do. All right, LSU coming off a 44-21 win against Nichols here, Juicy. They did not look very good in the first half, and that is something
Definitely
that
not.
is and there's already people calling for Brian Kelly's head at this point here.
I don't think
Is
that's a
it
little bit of a stretch.
is it you? So you're saying it's a bit of a stretch here? I mean, 2 10-win seasons for the Tigers the last 2 years, and that is something that I think they're trending in the right direction. It's the loss against USC. USC is looking to be a tougher team than what was the
hmm
prognosis in the preseason here. The
Seems like
27.
since they switched to the Big Ten, they all of a sudden want to play some football now.
Yeah, looks like they found a defense here for sure. Uh, so any concerns going into the South Carolina game?
Definitely concerned a little bit with the defense. I mean, I know I do give him credit because Blake Baker's real aggressive. Like he's not afraid to blitz. But sometimes they've been getting burned on blitzes. They've been living by the blitz, dying by the blitz. But you know, it's just what they got to fix. I mean, it's just got to hit home on it. And uh, Harold Perkins, just let Harold Perkins be Harold Perkins.
Okay, well, there's one concern that I have, and I think it's a very crucial part of this team that we had talked about in the preview, and it just hasn't came to all this hype about this experienced offensive line that LSU has. I haven't seen it in the first two games.
Well, Nuss, on that point though, Nuss has played well, and to me, I thought Nuss has played well in the first two games.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I thought Nuss did too. Some people are trying to blame him for it, but the offensive line ain't getting no push to get your running backs going.
I mean,
Yeah,
Nuss has been making great reads to me.
yeah. The
The
but
one
like,
interception at the end of the USC game kind of just
well,
like
Will,
was making
look,
something happen. But
Will Campbell, he's been making mistakes out there. Not to single him out from the whole entire offensive line group. I think as a unit, they haven't played that well. I mean,
yeah,
you're going out there. I think because Nuss is making quick reads and he's getting the balls to his receivers. He's got a cannon of an arm. I mean, there's no lacking arm strength with Garrett Nussmeier. He's definitely getting the ball to his receivers. And there's times like play calling in the first game against USC when Kyron Lacey looked like he was about to tear USC secondary and carve them and have them for lunch there. Then all of a sudden he doesn't appear in the second half of the game. John Emery, he's out with a ACL injury for the rest of the year. So you did get depleted in the running back position there. That's already kind of somewhat depleted itself there. So LSU's got to find something that they're going to gel with here uh, on offense here. The defense looked good the first game. Not really much to say here. They played well in the second game against Nichols here too. I think that is something that we're gonna have to look at as we go deeper into the year and stuff here, because
though
LSU,
Nichols is one of the better FCS programs now, though. But
yeah, the head coach for Nichols used to be a coach at UL. Used to be an
mm,
offensive coordinator for UL.
nice.
So
It's a
yeah,
good, interesting fact there.
yeah, and just to throw that in there too. Rebo's been a very good coach at UL. I mean, I'm not surprised that they gave LSU a handle in the first half for sure. LSU did get a 23-14 lead at the end of the first half there, and then they were able to kind of cruise on about the 9:03 onward because Kyron Lacy, showed up in the second half. Maybe they learned something from the first game here. Got two touchdown passes in the second half from Garrett Nussmeier, three total in that game here. So Kyron Lacy and Garrett Nussmeier, they've been playing pitch and catch here all year.
How did UL let Kyron Lacy slip through their fingers? You have to look
Well,
as a Raging Cajun fan. You have to look and be like, well, he was one of ours at one time.
Look, I'm gonna say this here: UL cannot compete with bigger NIL schools. Okay, LSU's being one of them here. Miami obviously flaunting that money around. Alabama, Georgia, the bigger programs. They just can't do it. That's why I think since we're kind of going on to the topic of NIL, I think collectives need to be banned from participating in NIL, and I do think that sports in itself here. Now everybody's like, because that's how these big donors go through these collectives here, and the collectives decide which players to go after or where like the high marketed players here because they can approach them with these $4 or $5 million, and I do think that they need to pass a rule in the NCAA that will limit how much a business no matter what business it is, an LLC can give to a particular player. Now, if they got a $10,000 cap, you're gonna have to get a bunch of businesses involved to do your stuff. That way, you're limiting the amount of money, so you don't have this unchecked parity where you're having to buy a first, like Nick Saban was accusing Jimbo Fisher a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, of buying, or last year or something, that buying his first recruiting ranking class. That's the danger, the big oil money and stuff. That way, whenever you're now, some of these people might have multiple LLCs. I'm not saying they all can, but if you put the cap in place, they can't go past the cap there. Then you're gonna have to have a bunch of businesses try to respond to that. That's why it's so important to ban the collectives because they can't just dump a bunch of money into collectives and have this go drop. Hey, Juicy, you want to come play for LSU? Here's $30 million. Just drop on your doorstep. Boom, as a collective. Like that's literally what they're doing. It's not like it's rocket science to figure that stuff out there, but you know, there probably lawsuits or whatever. So I mean, it is what it is. I think college football is becoming a semi-professional league, basically. Might as well recall it the United Football League again.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, so that's why they need to ban the collectives. As much as like people want to protect the collectives and stuff, I just think that they need to be banned because you're just throwing all that money out there towards them. But anyway, oh, why is that up? Okay, wrong thing, guys. My bad. LSU versus South Carolina here. So I think LSU here getting back on track here because I went on my little tangent there because oh man, that I can go all day about NIL and how I think it's going to ruin college football. But look,
It happens. It happens.
it happens, yeah. So look, LSU they didn't start very well against Nichols. Had a rough first half against them here. I do think Nussmeier is playing very well. I think he's executing exactly what he's supposed to do here. He's a different kind of quarterback than Jane Daniels. He is not a mobile quarterback. Jane Daniels can throw it and he can run at the same time. So look, it's dual threats give defenses something else to worry about here. Now you have to cater your game plan to help him out at times here. So he's a pocket passer, which is not a bad thing to have anyway, because he's like definitely kind of a gunslinging kind of quarterback, I would say. But he puts that ball on a dart. When Nussmeier's doing that ball, he's got a rocket. He's got a good arm. I'm impressed with his arm strength. He can hit. I think he's playing very well at the quarterback position. You can say what you want about Brian Kelly. He does know how to develop his quarterbacks. That is
That
one thing
is.
you can say about Brian Kelly. He
And
definitely
tight
knows.
ends. He has a track record of tight ends too.
Yeah, he does have a good track record of tight ends, like you were mentioning, Juicy. But yeah, like coming up in this game against South Carolina, I do think LSU does have a pretty good opportunity here to really like silence a lot of doubters going into Columbia. It's been a
South
while since
Carolina's on a momentum too after that thrashing they did at Kentucky.
yeah. So this one here, I'm cautious about it because this is a game that LSU cannot take lightly if they go in over there. Here, it's an early kickoff, so they're going to be ready and juiced
And
up
it's in
here.
Eastern time zone.
So yeah, 11 o'clock Central Time. It'll be a noon kickoff. So for them in South Carolina, so that is time for them to kind of get ready. It is early. Then you got UCLA coming up in Baton Rouge. Then you got South Alabama. So looking ahead here, this is a pivotal game for you to kind of. I know we had a preview and we thought LSU would be almost 4 games undefeated going into it, but now we're kind of looking at it like, can we get out of this being 2-2 maybe? I still think with 2 losses, an SEC team can get in there. Now, granted, this is a big one for you because the auto bid to the college football playoff could technically be on the line here because you got to finish in the top 2. It's not divided up anymore in divisions here. So, and the top 4 seeds get a bye. So if you're able to, if you win the SEC, you're going to be in that top 4 seed. It's a given at this point here, unless they
I just want
some.
them to make the playoffs. I don't care about the top four seed.
Well, you want to play one less game though.
That's true. But
Yeah,
then you
you
get
don't
to
want to
host a
play.
home
You
game
don't want to
though.
play more game and risk you guys' injuries for sure here. So if
But
you
then
can get
but
into
then
that
you get to
second
host a
round,
playoff game though if you play in the first round.
yeah, I mean, like even if you drop like you drop the game to USC, if you win the conference itself, it's going to put you in a very good situation. So you got to hope that works here. So I think with LSU here, winning this game is extremely important here to get you some momentum because this is going to be one of your peers. This is one of your conference mates. It's somebody you're going to have to see what you can do against them here. So looking at it from that perspective here of it here, the spread for this game is only 7 points, favoring LSU. Uh, so this if South Carolina does win, it'll be their first 3-0 start in 12 years. So they're and the analytics according to ESPN, 51.3% going with LSU here. So if Kyron Lacey, they got to get him involved early. I think that's one of the keys to this game here, getting him established, getting Nussmeier in a rhythm here to to set up their passing game because that's LSU's biggest strength on offense is their passing game so far. They got to get the running game going here. I think that is one thing they're going to try to sprinkle in there. If
You got to be
are you,
able to manage the clock by running the ball.
yeah, that is something you don't want to give South Carolina here too much here either. So that is something that LSU is going to have to do. I think
Got
setting
to
up
keep
the
their defense on the field
yeah.
enough. Got to run the ball. Got to wear them out and be able to throw the ball at the same time.
So what you're looking forward to in this matchup, Juicy?
I'm looking forward to LSU's uh, offensive line really stepping up and run block and get some running game going and trying to get Harold Perkins going, let him get kickstarted. I know he had a couple of great plays against USC, but I'm ready to see like vintage Harold Perkins, like and offensive line. That's my two biggest things right now.
Yeah, because the offensive line's been making some key mistakes
That's what I'm
lately.
excited to see if they've got them, if they made adjustments to help get them going.
Yeah, so the last 5 games, LSU is 4-1 in their last 5 games. South Carolina is also 4-1. Their last loss was last year, November 25th, 2023, to Clemson, 16-7. So a 31-6 win against Kentucky, 23-19 over Old Dominion. Now, that's the biggest improvements from week 1 to week 2 in the season. So that's kind of scary to think about. But teams do get better if they play more games. Not every team is the same thing, but there's a general synopsis of what's going on. That's typically what normally happens here with these teams here. So I do think that is something we're going to have to look and see how it all plays out here because it's going to be tough between all these teams here. It's going to be one of those that I think whoever wins the battle up front, obviously, I do think LSU does do that in this game. I think they're going to be able to establish a dominance. Like I'm keep expecting this offensive line to just come out, control the line of scrimmage, and push this defensive front back of whoever they're going to play against. Because the first 2 games I haven't seen it really too much there with LSU. So that is a cause for concern for me in this game is will this offensive line that we're supposed to see from LSU actually show up in this game here? Now, that is, and without the offensive line, I don't care how good of a quarterback you are, you will not have that much success. Now, they've been able to pass block a little bit better here. Um, Defensively, I like the aggressiveness of Blake Baker. I think Brett Baker. Yeah, so I do think that is something they're going to look at here because I do think them being aggressive is a good thing here, and you live and die by it. But I do think you can make some big plays with it too, and you can really excite your team and stuff. So uh, I'm gonna go with LSU, even though I think I'm scared about it. I'm not very confident in it because I want to see more from this team. I'm only gonna pick them because the expectation. That's what it is. The expectations was caused me to pick them. I got to see it. If I don't see it this week, I will not pick them against UCLA because I think they will lose that game to UCLA if I don't see it this week. What you think, Juicy?
I agree with your points. I mean, you gotta. I mean, we're expecting to see this and them to get it going, but you know, you know, I'm actually thinking that this is gonna be my upset pick of the week. As much as it hurts me, I think South Carolina's actually gonna beat LSU. I'm not kidding right now. I'm picking South Carolina to upset
Oh,
LSU. I hope I'm
look,
wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I don't
But
blame you for picking that. I mean,
but
we
based
haven't.
on what I've seen right now, just based off of the eye test right now, I'm picking South Carolina, and South Carolina just came off that big road win against Kentucky. So yeah, I'm going with South Carolina to upset
The
LSU at
only
home.
another reason why I'm not picking South Carolina is that close game they had in Week 1 to Old Dominion, and
Well,
Old
I'm
Dominion.
looking past that because we just brought up how week one is just trying to get a
Yeah,
lot of
I
it's
mean
trying to
it
get it
is.
right. You're just trying to get it right. You're just lucky to get out with a win sometimes.
Yeah, so look, that I have to see that offensive line improve. I'm just gonna pick them for the sake of I think it'd be a very close win. I don't think the 7 point spread is probably uh what is probably what I'm looking at here. So I'm thinking that is what's gonna happen here. So I'm gonna go with LSU with a 3 point win. I think if they win this, it's gonna be on the leg of the kicker coming in late to win them the game, and that's what my prediction will be.
I got South Carolina. I'm as much as it hurts me I have to put my feelings aside.
Yeah, look,
I'm picking South Carolina.
I do not blame you for picking South Carolina because it makes sense. It honestly does make sense here for obvious reasons that we have our doubts. Like we've talked about this here. I give these teams 2 or 3 weeks here. Uh,
They lose this game because not because of Nuss, just because I'm worried the offensive line is just not going to be able to establish dominance. That's my main reason, and they're also playing on the road in the SEC. So
yeah, so we're gonna move on to our picks here coming up here on the fishbowl. So our week 3 picks here coming up here. So tomorrow you got number 20 Arizona taking on number 14 Kansas State. Kansas State got uh, a big second half win against Tulane. They struggled the first half there. Um, I don't think Kansas State wins this one though. I wasn't too impressed with their win against Tulane. I thought they would have played a little bit better against Tulane, and I don't think Tulane's really if you got the pressure on the quarterback there, he struggles a lot. From what I noticed from game watching the game and stuff. So give me number 20 Arizona with the win. Basically, who you got, Juicy?
yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm gonna go with Arizona as well for the same reasons you said about Kansas State.
Number 4 Alabama taking on Wisconsin. Alabama's actually looked pretty good, but I mean,
I
look.
don't know. They didn't look that great against South Florida for most good part of that
Oh
game.
yeah, for the second half here, they eventually
They
ended up
really
did. Yeah,
they had to finally pull away in the fourth quarter, but they really didn't look that good either.
like their first game, I mean, they dominated was Western Kentucky, but I think when they do look good, Alabama does have the potential to be really, really good here. I say they will look good in second game because of how well they responded to adversity in the first half in that game here. So, and they really put it all together and really was able to, basically blow them out in like the last I think midway through the third quarters when that happened, or in the fourth. It was somewhere around there. I'm trying to remember. But I think I got Alabama beating Wisconsin. Who you got, Juicy?
I'll take Alabama as well.
Number 13, Oklahoma State versus Tulsa. Give me an Oklahoma State. I got them winning it.
Oh, the Cowboys.
Arkansas State. I picked this game earlier. If you watched our podcast earlier with recapping what happened with the Cajuns and Kennesaw State, we did our Sun Belt picks and this one came up here. I will pick it again. I feel bad for Arkansas State because they're going to run to a buzzsaw in Michigan, Ann Arbor, because
Oh
Michigan
my
got
god.
embarrassed by Texas last week, and they're going to be ticked off. Or if you want the uncensored version, go ask your parents about it. Um, I got Michigan winning this one. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I got Michigan. They're gonna be out for blood against poor Arkansas State. Give me Michigan.
Number 24, Boston College take on number 6, Mizzou.
Wait, Boston College?
Yeah. I genuinely loved your reaction right there. Boston
Boston
College,
College?
they're ranked.
They haven't been good since Matt Ryan. They haven't been relevant.
So look, they beat Florida State, uh, you know, 28-13, and then they beat Duck. I've always hated this team's name. I can never say it right. They beat them 56-0. Okay,
Duquesne or whatever you talking
Duquesne.
about?
Yeah, I can never pronounce their name right. I apologize if you're a fan of them and you're in that watching this stream. I apologize in advance. Uh, Murray and Mizzou, they had their defense on the game of any points. So I mean, it's really hard to pick against Missouri. So give me Missouri. Who you got, Juicy?
I'm gonna go with Missouri as well. Missouri's looking pretty impressive right now.
Number 9, Oregon versus Oregon State. Now, good news for Oregon State here is they're getting a bunch of conference mates coming in next year.
The Civil War.
Yeah, so they're getting Boise State's going join the Pac-12. Uh, what's the other one? I think Fresno's. Let me go look real quick. I just had on the Fishbowl Twitter. Uh,
Oh, these schools are moving up to Power Five conferences now.
well, more like Mountain West version 2. Um, let me see. Yeah, San Diego State's in it. Let's see where.
Mountain West 2.0.
Yeah, so I don't think they should. It's not. They're probably not going to because they lost like Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State. That wasn't going to be correct, and Colorado State is all joining the Pac-12. So that is good news for Oregon State. They won't win this game, but it is nice that the Pac-12 will stick around here, and kudos to them for like staying with their conference here. Got to give them that. Who you got, Juicy? I got Oregon.
I got Oregon as well.
Ball State versus number 10, Miami. Miami has looked good
Oh
this year.
yeah, Miami has looked really good.
Yeah, they might be a contender, and Miami wasn't really all that great the last couple of years. Really, I mean they not like what we're used to seeing with the
Hey, we
U back.
all want. Hey, all of college football wants the U to be back. You know, we all. What's college football without Miami being good?
Yeah, so I got Miami beating Ball State. Who you got, Juicy?
Oh, I got the Hurricanes as well.
So Tulane taking on number 15 Oklahoma. Tulane coming across that Kansas State loss, which I think Oklahoma's favored by 13 here. I think Oklahoma does take care of business against Tulane here. There were some fans on Twitter that saying Tulane got hosed on the pass interference call, but they blew a lead. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop with like trying to support these G5 schools basically at sometimes because your allegiance to the G5 is like more cloud your judgment, and you can't make an actual judgment call when it happened out there on the field here. I've always said this though: don't put yourself in a bad situation, okay? Literally, because you can prevent this stuff. Anything that can be done can be prevented, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
if you blow a, let me see, let me go pull up the game because I'm trying to make sure I got the numbers right. Let's go look at Tulane here. What was their box score against So yeah, at the half, this is stats. I wanted box score. It's okay. I click box score and it doesn't give me a stats. It's kind of dumb. Maybe team stats it might be under. It's giving me the final score. I didn't want like. Okay, so this is play by play. Let me see what this one says here. Second. It's 4:57 in a second. There it is. End of second quarter. So at the half, Tulane was leading 20-10. Okay, and then they gave up. They let Kansas State score 24 points, and they only scored 17. So they blew a 10-point lead at half. It took Tulane until 2:18 left in the third to get their first points. Wow. Kansas State had tied it up and scored 10 points up to that point. So, yeah, it doesn't stick, my dudes. Sorry. Give me Oklahoma with a B Tulane. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I got Oklahoma.
Number 18, Notre Dame versus Purdue. I got Notre Dame winning this one. Who you got, Juicy?
I got the Irish.
Number 12, Utah versus Utah State. Cam Rising might be getting another year of eligibility due to his injury that he suffered with tetanus. That was something interesting that came across the wire today. I got Utah winning this one though. Who you got, Juicy?
I got Utah.
I think that's Cam Rising's eighth or ninth year of eligibility.
Something like that. He's a long time.
Yeah. Hey, I wonder what the record is for the longest college player that played the longest in college football.
All this COVID stuff's just getting ridiculous. They gotta. Thank God it's all coming to an end though soon after.
This should be the last year, I think.
From COVID, yeah, because
I think that because like we're in 24 and
yeah, it should be about ran through its cycle now. After
or like 90%. You might have some from 2019, 2018, depending on how that goes. But yeah, it is what it is. Ole Miss taking on Wake Forest. Ole Miss is number 5 in the country. I got Ole Miss beating Wake Forest. So you got Juicy.
Ole Miss.
UTSA taking on number 2 Texas. Texas look really good. I think Texas might be a national title favorite here.
Texas is on fire right now. I think Texas is looking really good.
I got Texas winning this one. Who you got?
They're looking like one. I think they're looking like arguably the best team in the country right now.
I think they look better than Georgia right now.
Yeah, Georgia looks a little sluggish.
And Georgia is the next thing we're picking. Number 1, Georgia versus Kentucky. I got Georgia beating Kentucky.
Oh, Georgia's gonna probably beat the brakes off Kentucky.
Northern Iowa taking number 23, Nebraska. Nebraska coming off a big win against Colorado.
Nebraska's ranked?
Yep. I got Nebraska beat Northern Iowa. Who you got, Juicy?
Nebraska. Can't believe
I'm glad Nebraska be ranked. Historically good program, man. You gotta appreciate it.
You gotta like it. Nebraska, Miami, they're all back ranked.
What years is it? We're back in the 90s?
80s or something? What is this?
80s and the 90s?
Yeah, what are we doing? Are we in a time warp right now?
Look, with the 90s here, Kent State versus number 7, Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee was pretty good in the 90s too. What is this? Madness?
Look, it's the cycle, dude. It does this, okay? And you know who wasn't that good in the 90s? LSU.
Yeah.
we might be entering one of these.
Well, they were good for a few years in the 90s.
Well, subject to what like a lot of LSU fans grew up on, basically. If you were born in the 2000s, you're not you never
I remember I was small when LSU won like 3 games in like 1998 or something. I remember that.
Like if you were born in the 2000s or in the 2010s, you're not used to seeing, LSU have a 3-9 year. That's kind of the thing. I do remember LSU a little bit before Nick Saban, the Gary DiNardo years.
It was trash.
Yeah. I got Nebraska beating Northern Iowa, and I got Tennessee beating Kent State. Yeah, that is sometimes, man. Like, because you would not see LSU fans act like that, because the whole perception of LSU's program definitely changed after Nick Saban left.
Well, Les Miles has several good years there too, though.
Look, you got to give credit to, as much as you would not like Ed Orgeron or whatever it is. You got to give them credit here because he put together one really great team that won a national title in 2019, and you got to give Les Miles credit for keeping the program up for all those years after Nick Saban left. And look, it's hard, like the perception of LSU's program from the 90s to today is. basically like it's nowhere near compared to what it was back then here. Like people were just hoping to get to a bowl game and possibly compete for an SEC championship in football at the time. You wasn't thinking national titles because they hadn't won one in like 40 something years or whatever. So that is my little tidbit about it. It is kind of like, look, it is interesting to see how these things change over time and watching these programs as we cover another episode here on the Fishbowl Radio here. So look here. Who Yeah, it'll be a good one here. I hope you have a great and wonderful night here. I'm signing off here for Juicy. This is he's gonna say good night, Fishbowl. So I'll say for Juicy here. You have to get off here. Um, thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great, wonderful day. We'll see you here next time.